Know when you're ready.
In progress.
Perfect. Hello, everybody. My name is Jeremiah Woods, and I am the president of Voters of Tomorrow, Florida, and today's podcast host of the best podcast in Florida, Gen Z Speaks Podcast. And I am here with someone very special, someone I look up to, someone very, very great in our Florida politics and in our country, a trailblazer, the one and only Representative Angie Nixon, also running for U.S. Senate. How are you
Thank
feeling
you
today?
for having me. I'm so excited. I love Gen Z.
Yes, yes. The best generation, some say. The best generation.
Well,
Um,
wait a minute. Wait a minute. You're going a little too far now. Shout out to those millennials.
they're cool too. They're cool too. Sometimes. But I do want to begin, before we begin get into it, who is Angie Nixon outside of politics, outside of the title, outside of running for office? Who are you?
Yeah, for sure. So I am a daughter of an Army veteran, a daughter of a union member. I'm a wife. I'm a mother of five. I have a blended family with my husband. I'm a bookstore owner. Ron DeSantis banned books. I opened up a banned bookstore. And I'm a community organizer. I'm just someone who really loves this state of Florida. And my entire career centers around actually helping to uplift just hardworking everyday Floridians in our state.
So if you were not in politics today, what would you be doing right now?
I would be a community organizer. I would continue to be a bookstore owner. I just really appreciate going out and meeting folks and trying to help solve their problems with them, helping them to realize their power and why they need to be involved. And so I would, some way, shape, or form, be involved in advocacy, which is what I did before I was in office, what I'm doing currently, as well as being in office, and what I plan on doing when I'm no longer in office. And I also want to highlight that I don't plan on dying in office. I plan on mentoring young folks like yourself to be the next people in office. And I don't want to say y'all are the next leaders because the next generation of leaders, y'all are actually leaders right now.
Yes, and that's actually, a great talking point. As you know, our democracy right now is under attack.
Mm, that's
We
an
are
understatement, Jeremiah. That's an
yeah,
understatement.
right under attack, and some would say it's dying. Our democracy is dying. Our great, American dream is coming to a close as it stands right now. Do you, you mentioned young people being the leaders of now, the leaders, not the leaders of the next, but the leaders of right now. What do you think it requires for young people to do in today's climate, today's political climate?
So, what I think you all should do is get loud. You need to get loud. Right now, there are so many people that are in power, including some Democrats. I'm a Democrat. There are some people in power that are holding on to power at all costs, and they don't want to see more diversity of thought. And you all should get loud about how the way in which they are legislating, the way in which they are leading is not working. And so you all should get loud about the need for us to do something differently and to actually listen to you all because you have great ideas and to actually again mentor you all to start taking some of our places right now. That is the only way that we are going to progress in this country. We can't continue to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. We actually have to bring more people to the table and who are willing to shake things up a bit.
Right. And that's a great answer. And I do want to, people say all the time, I want to piggyback off of, your answer. You said, get loud. This is something that right now is required of us to be loud, but I do want to talk about a very important moment in Florida politics, even probably will be in the history books of Florida politics, where, the our government speed ran a vote on the redistricting situation, and you got up and can you tell us about that situation? What was going
Yeah.
through your head? Why you thought you needed to do it? And if necessary, what do you hope the outcome of that would be?
For sure. So back in 2010, when some of you all were not born and some of you all were young kids, voters placed an amendment on the ballot to call for fair districts, meaning they wanted small, compact districts. They wanted to ensure that they weren't partisan gerrymandered, meaning you can't choose how to cut the maps, draw the maps based on partisan fashion, meaning Republican or Democrat. And so voters overwhelmingly voted to push that out, to like have that law come into fruition, right? To pass it. And so what happened was Ron DeSantis got a phone call from Donald Trump asking him to find some districts, and because he's afraid that he may get impeached and removed if he loses the midterm elections with all of these House and Senate races that are happening right now. And so Ron DeSantis decided to oblige. Okay, sorry. So let me start over from there.
All
So
right.
yes, so back in 2010, voters decided that they wanted to pass a citizen-led ballot initiative called Fair Districts, where it in essence said that lawmakers cannot draw maps in an effort to cause for partisan gerrymandering, and they wanted to make sure that the districts were compact. And so they voted on that overwhelmingly and they passed it. They wanted to make sure that it was just allowing voters to be able to choose who they wanted to represent them. So fast forward, Donald Trump decided that he saw the writings on the wall and he is at risk of losing the midterms. And so he decided to ask a lot of governors that are in red states to draw some districts, draw new maps to get him to basically get more seats that would have more Republicans so that they could keep him in office, because he fears that if the Democrats win the House and Senate, that they're going to impeach him and remove him. And so Ron DeSantis decided to unconstitutionally and illegally draw maps because, again, voters voted, and they enshrined it in the state constitution, fair districts. That is what the ballot initiative was called. The ballot amendment was called. And so what's interesting is Ron DeSantis did not share the maps with us first. He shared them on Fox News. It only took his map drawer a weekend, and they shared it on Fox News first, and then it showed specifically that it was color coded blue and red, and it showed seats that were going to go from being blue Democratic seats to red Republican seats, and it's just a slap in the face. And so I wasn't gonna sit idly by and just give strongly worded debate. Like, no, I needed
All
to raise awareness about the fact that they were violating the law. They were
right.
violating our state constitution. They were ignoring the voters. Again, they were allowing politicians to choose who their voters were and not allowing the people to choose who would represent them. And so I decided to take out a pink bullhorn and disrupt those proceedings so that I can gain media attention so everyone could learn about what was going on. And we need more of that. These people are literally destroying our democracy. They are destroying our institutions. And us being professional and having decorum is not going to stop them. Donald
I
Trump
don't
is
know.
literally he's weaponizing institutions. He's going after people in the courts. And like, what good is decorum when democracy is being destroyed?
Right,
And I can't sit idly by. I told you, Jeremiah, I have 5 kids,
right,
4 of which are Generation Z. And so, no, I'm not going to sit there and just like let them ram something through that's illegal. I'm going to make as much noise as I can to wake everybody up so that they can vote these idiots out of office.
right. And that's a great answer because, like I said, you in your previous question, the answer was get loud. It does not. Right now, democracy does not require for us to be quiet. It requires for us to get loud and bring awareness to these situations and these issues to actually to so for some fighting chance to get back and to get back to
Yes.
where we belong to in our democracy. And so, in the topic of democracy and in the conversation of right now, you've served, you've served people in Florida for years, for years at this point. Um, why do you think right now is the time for you to run for U.S. Senate?
I mean, you just talked about it, Jeremiah. Again, folks have gotten too complacent in Washington, D.C. People are acting like there's nothing going on, and they're just sitting there, especially in the U.S. Senate.
Mhm.
And the most vocal person in the United States Senate is Bernie Sanders. He
Right,
needs some more support.
right,
And I am willing to go up there and shake things up a bit because it needs to happen. We need to push back. We need someone who will not be bought and paid for by greedy billionaires and corrupt corporations. We need someone who has a proven track record of not only fighting, but actually delivering for Floridians. I was able to expand access to early childhood education. I was able to stop price gouging. And we need someone who we don't have to worry about who's like voting the wrong
right,
way because
right.
somebody decided to dangle some money, some campaign donations in front of them or to bribe them. I have always been unapologetic about doing what's right for my people. And there's nothing that would change that at all. And that is unfortunately that's what Republicans fear. And it's also what some establishment corporate Democrats fear as well, because they know I'm not going to just fall in line if it's going to be detrimental to working families. I'm not going to just fall in line if it's going to harm Miss Jackson, who's stressed out because she has to ration out her prescription drugs because she can't afford the cost of her medication as well as food on her table.
Mm.
And so I'm always going to be fighting for people.
Right. And so you're currently in the primaries, and so what unique perspective, I believe I know the answer, but you may give another answer. What unique perspective do you bring to the table than someone else in your election? Uh,
Yeah. So in this primary election, I would say I am the only candidate that has always been showing up. Even when I'm not asked to show up, I show up. If folks are being bullied, if folks are being targeted, I show up. I am the only candidate in the race who has spoken out against the attacks on the Voting Rights Act and the fact that it was gutted.
which is crazy.
The only candidate that has spoken out and push back against targets on members of the LGBTQ community, emphasizing the T in the LGBTQT community.
Right.
And I am the only candidate that's willing to actually have tough conversations and answer hard questions. I don't run from conversations and questions. I'm the only candidate in the race that can say that.
Right.
I have, go ahead.
And that's necessary. But continue. Please continue.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm the only candidate that's showing up in communities without having to have people buy access to me. And I think it's so disheartening that I'm hearing all across the state that my opponent here in this primary and my opponent in the general, Ashley Moody, won't show up to certain communities. They don't want to have tough conversations. They won't answer certain questions. And when we run for office and when we win, we represent all the constituents in our districts or jurisdictions. You're not just, I wouldn't just be a senator for Democrats or Black people. I would be a senator for everyone here in the state of Florida, even people who I don't agree with ideologically, or people who we don't worship the same way. And I need to make sure that I'm showing up for them when they need me because that's a part of the job. And it's unfortunate that there's people in my primary and my soon to be general election that don't feel the need that they have to show up. So if people don't show up now, what would they do if they became the next United States Senator? They probably wouldn't show up then. And so I am the only person that's consistently been showing up. And I look forward to representing all of Florida when I win and become the next United States Senator.
That's a great answer. And the second to last question, if you were to pass one bill immediately, obviously going through our democratic process, but if you were to pass one bill immediately, which would improve the lives of people under 30, Gen Z, what would it be?
That would improve the lives of Gen Z. I would say my education plan, which would make free childcare. It would also push for free college and free vocational programs. And so you all wouldn't have to worry about paying to go to school. And also it would push for debt cancellation. So it would be somewhat of an omnibus bill, right?
Right,
And
right.
so it is an aggregate of different things related to education. But
Yeah.
number one, it would help improve your lives because some of you all are becoming parents right now and you all need access to free childcare. It will help improve some of your lives because some of you all went out to college and you have student loan debt. So we would wipe that clean. Or some of you all are getting ready to go to college or don't want to go to college and want to pick up a trade. It would provide the opportunity for those things to be paid for the same way K through 12 education is paid for. And so it's a win-win. If you all don't have to worry about paying for school, you all can focus on school and make sure that you pass and you learn so much that when you graduate, you can be successful and you can, contribute back to our economy and our communities. And if you are a parent and you don't have to pay for early childhood education, you can go to work. And so you don't have to worry about that cost that is sometimes the cost of a mortgage. And so that is the major bill that I would push that would help benefit young people.
Great answer. And for the okay, this is the second to last one. I promise this is the second to last one. But this is the speed round. I'm going to ask you for about 30 seconds questions, and you just choose either or. Okay. So first question: coffee or tea?
Sweet tea.
Sweet tea. Favorite Florida city?
Favorite Florida city. Hmm. Duval County, baby, Jacksonville, Florida. I gotta be
Okay.
the
Okay.
hometown.
Okay. I'm from Tampa, Florida, so I can't. I'm biased. But beach or springs?
Say that again.
Beach or the springs?
I've grown up so much on the beach. I think I like the springs now, especially when you can like jump from cliffs and things like that into them.
Okay, okay. Morning or night?
Ooh, I am not a morning person. Night.
Okay, okay. And final question, cats or dogs?
Neither. However, I have a dog now because my
Okay,
husband decided to get one, even though we have 5 kids. So I would have to say dogs. And
all
I don't care for cats because they act too much like me, and I
right.
can't have too much of that type of energy.
Right, right. They don't care about nothing. They don't care about nothing.
That strong energy that's like, you not gonna tell me what to do.
Right.
And so I don't need that in my life. I don't need that in my life.
And final question. Thank you so much for being on this and speaking to the young people of Florida. Um, I believe here in Voters of Tomorrow, they're doing some great things. We're doing some great things. But final question is, what gives you hope about Florida's future? Despite
What gives
everything going on, what gives you
What
hope?
gives me hope about Florida's future are people like you. The fact that you're so plugged in and engaged right now. I didn't get engaged until after I graduated from college and had my daughter. As far as like being really engaged in politics. And so I am inspired by y'all's hard work and the fact that you all you all know what you deserve and you aren't settling for less. And you all are speaking up and pushing back, even in the face of such adversity, because this outlook right now is not looking too good. But like you all are still, you're holding on to hope and you're pushing through and persevering. And I'm just y'all give me hope. Y'all inspire me to keep going.
Thank you so much, like, for being on our Gen Z Speaks podcast. And thank you, listeners, for listening. And Rev Ness, and I just want to say thank you so much for being that light to not just Black people, but all people in the state of Florida. We wish you the best of luck. And
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And I want to tell everyone visit my page, join my People Power campaign at angienixon.com. Follow me on social media, Angie for FL. We need people to knock on doors, make phone calls. And if you got a little change, go ahead and spare for your girls' campaign.
I'm talking about put that plug in. All righty. Thank you so much. And this
Thank
concludes
y'all.
the Ask podcast.